All right, everybody. So here's the rundown on Peg Leg. We are going to put a new turbo and turbo kit on the old thing. As you can see, I've already removed the old stuff. There's the old turbo, some of the kit, the intercooler, and the two headers. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to get the new manifolds on. The steer shaft needs to be moved. The brake lines need to be changed, of course. It's not that great looking as it is. I mean, it's kind of a hack job, really. So it gives me the opportunity to redo that. I'm going to have to get real creative on the steering because it's just the way it's looking, it's not going to be easy. Here's the other side manifold. As you can see, it can't fully go on there because of the shock tower, so I'm going to have to modify that. But that is what we are working on. And oh yes, the transmission's back in it. It works great. Not a whole lot done to it other than just same pump, extreme automatics, reverse pattern, full manual valve body, and rebuilt the transfer case, of course, and it works great. Now, that being said, it did take me a time or two pulling this thing in and out to get the transmission right, but after it was right, it was wonderful. But it is just finally time to retire the billet 80, even though there's racing season is starting 2 weeks from now. But honestly, I just want to come out doing something different. It's got the old converter in it, so it's just like, why take it out again if it's going to do exactly the same thing, other than I might be able to get my 60-foot times down and improve an ET, but that's not what I'm really looking for, so we're just going to get to modifying it. First things first, as you can see, this is the new log manifold. It is hitting the shock bolt. And I'm thinking, even if I remove the shock out of there, this bracket, the shock tower, is still going to hit the manifold. So let's just get the shock out of there, and I don't know, we'll see if we can cut the shock tower out, and I'll probably just rebuild something, redesign it. We'll see. But right now, we'll just take the shock out. So we did get it to clear. I might be able to, see, stick this bushing in here. I might be able to just cut the cup and then just try to move the cup as far down as possible, and that's all it'd take to clear the log, which makes me very happy because I don't have to modify this entire tower. I can just modify the top part of it and then maybe shorten the stud down, and we'll be in the clear. This is about as far down as the shock goes. Just a little thing. Now the other side, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut my steering heim joint out. Also, my brakes are mounted to it. So I really don't like the way I did these brakes in the first place. It was just kind of me just getting it going getting the vehicle to have brakes. So I think I'm going to take apart the brakes and then cut the Heim off and see how well it fits in there. So we'll get to disconnecting the lines here. All right, so we got the out, and this is the point of no return. No going back now, unless I plan on welding it all back together, which, screw that. Oh my gosh, like it's meant to be. See how it sounds. Actually a little bit better in the headers. The only thing we're missing is the tall deck valve covers, which are coming soon, but I'm definitely gonna be a lot more happy with these manifolds. Super nice, high quality, stainlessheaders.com, 120 wall stainless. I can't remember if it was 309 or 321. I think it's 309. It doesn't really matter. It's way better than what I had. So basically, my biggest gripe over the last setup, of course, was the collectors came up over the valve covers, where these will now be down here. Everything's out of the way. You can run the tall valve covers for the freaking better valve train, like the stud girdles on the big block Chevy. This thing's always had kind of a problem loosening up rocker arms, so that will cure that. But also it will get the exhaust down off the top of the motor, which is kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's go to the turbo that we are going to use. Look at that. Look at that bad boy right there. That is a On3 Performance 94mm compressor and a 103mm exhaust wheel. That should significantly be one heck of a jump over the old billet 80. But since I got the flanges for it, finally, I mean, they were all in back order, so it wasn't really anyone's fault. But that's what I've been waiting for this turbo, was all of the appropriate flanges to put this turbo on. But I want to take it over to the truck and see if we can put it where I want it to be. So first things first, I stuck this shaft up inside the drill chuck here, used my right angle grinder, shaved it down a hair, and we go over to the turbo, and I have attached the drain, and this will be the dowel pin the turbo will sit on. It's it's a nice tight fit. Now I could build a fixture stand, kind of like the one I used to mount the last turbo. Weld that to the end of it, set the turbo at the height I want, and we'll get right to it. As you can see, we have completed our janky little stand. I mean, it's just made out of a bunch of scraps, but it does the job well. And I got the turbo roughly sitting where I want it to be. This time I want it facing forward. Now, mind you, the intercooler is still going to be down below it like it was, but this will be the new look. The only thing that's kind of bothersome is in these Explorer chassis, the engine will sit off to the left, which is what I did to this one for the drive shaft on the front diff. So that's what we're working with. Needless to say, I'm real excited about what I'm doing here. We'll open up the hood here to work just like a Jeep Wrangler. You can just flip it up over. But the idea here is the pipes will come down and below and up into this. The down pipe I want up, and it's going to have a hood stack up through the hood. I thought I was going to be able to make this straight, but it looks like I'm just going to leave it the way it is and make a charge pipe that comes back down here. And that's the extent of it, but this is where I want the turbo mounted this time. So basically, to get this template after removing the power steering pump here is I traced this out around the head as best I could, cut it out with scissors, and then I took a ball peen hammer with the ball end and just gingerly tapped until all the holes fell out. That's how I got my template. Now that we have our mounting plate, we'll put the template over it, and it lines right up with the holes, other than just a little bit of variance between the outside line here, which we'll go and test fit that real quick. Helps if you put it on the right way. Look at that. Everything lines up. So we can get some bolts and mount it up. Fast forward to the next week. I can't remember. It probably was another week ago or something like that, but got a lot of work done. As you can see, there's a big jump in progress here. But I just literally finished up the hot side to the turbo, downpipe, well, hood stack as you would call it. But where we left off was the faceplate to the cylinder head here. It's a piece of 1 5/8 tubing that I had laying around. It is welded in this general vicinity because I took 2 different bent pieces that I had laying around, welded them together. Did a bottom twist bracket, a big heavy quarter piece, and then an end off piece here, and it holds the frame of the turbo really well. And then basically got started on the 3-inch crossover pipe. Will merge, and I am very, very pleased with how this turned out, between reclaiming the wastegates off of the old setup, which is still sitting down there, the old billet 80, but ended up finishing up the 5-inch downpipe. I wasn't going to do this originally, but when I started kind of just digging through my stack of parts, I realized that I had enough to do what I'm doing. So it goes from the 4-inch, which that turbine wheel in this thing is just as big as that 4-inch outlet. It expands out to the 5 and then comes up and goes through the hood.